I am at the Knuth Farms in Mead, Nebraska this morning. Kerry and Angela Knuth, they're real pioneers with data. They think about data ways that everybody will in 10 years, but they've been doing it for 10 years already. So this is a really cool treat for me to be able to have them in the truck. And so, Kerry, why don't you give us a little introduction, and we'll drive around. We'll take a look at these beautiful crops.
All right. I farmed all my life, and so we
third generation here on the farm.
Fourth generation.
Fourth
actually.
generation.
Fourth generation, and the fifth is right here working with us. So
They got the tractor pull last night.
yeah, yeah. We got some data from the tractor pull.
Great.
So
the fuel is not going to be, the fuel consumption is going to be, it's going to throw that one off, right? Those are going to be the outliers.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, we've always been raising corn and soybeans, but now we're at corn, soybeans, wheat, alfalfa, and we've got oats and organic crops. Organic corn this year, so we're first year organic.
So you've done the transition period already?
We've done the transition on one field. Transition year one is on another field.
Right,
and
yeah, this one. So this corn is planted into living alfalfa.
Okay.
And we didn't, and it's still living alfalfa.
That's really cool. In the last 10 years, what are some of the really interesting things that you've seen appear? Because you guys see this stuff all the time. You guys are on the front end of trying a lot of this stuff, but what are some of the really neat things that you guys have witnessed here in the past, let's say 10 years or so?
I would say on the data side of so many companies out there that want to help you with everything, you know, planning your inputs and doing everything, and they want to charge you per acre for that. When we do that in-house, and we want to continue to do that in-house, it's like so many people just are taking, you know, tracking everything we do, and they're using it for their benefit, not our benefit. You know,
I think we're starting to see a response to some of that, because I hear that a lot, you know, that there's, and it's this whole outcome-based pricing stuff that they're talking about, and they're talking about how they can share the risk, right? Some of the manufacturers, when you buy the bundles and all that kind of stuff. And I would say that 70% of the people I talk to about that say it sounds good, but I'll take the risk. I don't want to share the upside when it works, right? I'd rather just take the risk on my own and get a better price at the front end instead of building that in.
We've been moving towards with you guys and Cropzilla, if I can say that, tracking our costs to know where we need to reduce them. So reducing inputs, equipment costs, all that is in front of us because we're tracking it. And then this trend towards the organics or the cover crops and soil health, that's all been building, and then with the prices being the way they are, so those things really help us reduce our input costs, so that we keep some of the gain that we get from the crop of that year.
And I don't think that's a trend that's going away. If anything, it's getting bigger and bigger. You know, we've never had a point in time where we've got fewer people who understand how our food is grown, but everybody wants to know more, because in our society today, you just expect to be able to know everything with the click of a button, right? I mean, our demand for the immediate is like everywhere. And so I think that's a trend that's absolutely not going away. And even if it's not full organic, because you know there's a commitment that you guys have to make in order to get over that hump. Just a better understanding of what products or practices were used is something that's starting to be kind of a trend as well, right? If you can, everybody wants to know a story, right? And I think our farmers have some of the greatest stories to tell that never get told. That is really what I think our food is going to become. The brands that are going to succeed are the ones that can help tell a story, and not just a BS story, right? Yeah. Not a BS story that they can't back up. Right. But I think that's really important for us to create some you know, you guys don't grow commodities, right? I mean, a commodity is what you grow a quality crop, and there's a differentiation I think that will happen in the future from a quality perspective. Like, do you guys have any aha moments when you started collecting the data, that things that you were like, I knew that, but now I really see it and it's even a bigger deal than I thought? Have you guys had any of those?
For me, the cost of the big equipment that we have, that compared, because you know we see the numbers for every operation with each piece of equipment, and harvest and planting are so much more expensive than, because of the equipment cost. But also when we were working with the university and planting cover crops, the tractor that we used made a huge difference in how much it cost us to plant. And the university saw that and they're like, use the cheaper plant tractor.
And that's because you didn't need all that horsepower to be doing what you were doing when you were putting the cover crops in the ground, and so you're saving then on hourly efficiency and wear and tear and depreciation on the machine, and
just knowing where the trucks are for logistics of making sure the combine doesn't stop.
Are you cutting anything any differently based upon tank size, and so that you can optimize, okay, let's go down this way now because we know the truck's going to be over here and I've got 2 passes to go before I'm full? And
yeah, definitely. You know, I'll have, well, plus we're hauling grain out of some grain elevators at harvest time too.
Yep.
So I can track where everybody's at, and I can, you know, like last fall we were between the 3 trucks, we were using 2 out of the field, but sometimes only 1 out of the field, because if I opened up fields, so then I go, hey, truck number 2, go shoot and grab a load from the elevator and haul for 1 load out of the grain elevator.
Yep.
Why, we open this up and 1 truck will do us, and then, oh, I see where you're at. You're about empty, you know, so it's like, hey, don't go back to the elevator. Come here to the field and help us again. And so that logistics is great.
And so that's when you have pucks in your over the road tractor trailers as well as your farm equipment. So you've got fleet, you've got entire fleet connectivity, the over the road stuff and the farm stuff.
Yeah, because we go multi-state area, so it's great to see where they're at and where they get to and when they're getting back and everything.
So yeah, so the combine, I mean, he's on it. The combine hardly ever stops.
And you don't want it to.
Yeah,
right?
It's always rolling.
Yep.
And then and we've got the cart and the tractor on the puck as well, and so we can see, you know, he can see where I'm at as well. And
I can see the weight of the grain cart through Farmobile, so I can tell how much he's got on. So how much more does she need to get a truckload? And then sometimes I've actually used it if I'm over the hill or something. I'll look at it to see if she's dumping on the truck and how much is left, you know, in her. It's like, how soon are you going to get empty so you can come catch me, you know? So I can see all that. So it's really neat.
Or if we're in a field that's long and we don't want to, you know, get into a trend where I'm full at the other side of the other end of the field and the truck is at the other end of the field, so then your truck.
You come back all the way up. You got to come back not working, right?
Right. Yeah.
To
so
dump.
You try to work it where it's faster to get to the truck and dump it. So like if I have a half load and we know that we're going to be working down at the south end and the truck's at the north, he'll tell me to go dump and then catch him down there and we're good to go. We'll be full coming back. So.
What are you guys running now?
Well, now we're Clausy equipment, John Deere equipment, but in the early stages, you know, we had 2 trucks on it, and then we had one of our trucks that tends the sprayer on it.
Okay.
You know, they're different manufacturers, but then we were running Claus equipment, but AGCO tractor, and so we're all over the board. And you know, the manufacturers have their own, and they want you to use their telematics, but they can't connect into every different piece that we have.
So are you afraid of changing equipment type now?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You realize there's another way, right?
Yeah.
And we even put it on our skid steer.
Okay.
So we put it on that because we move bales. And,
Okay.
And we didn't do too good this year. I don't know what, we had something wrong, but yeah, so we put it on our skid steer. We put it on our tender truck, so that.
And so you guys move them around.
Yeah, I mean, mainly just because the combine's seasonal. Try not to swap them back and forth, mainly, and just leave it in every because you never know when. A lot of the other stuff, you never know when it's going to run.
You know, we hear that a lot. People might buy one and they think they're going to move it from this piece of equipment to that piece of equipment, and as soon as they forget to move it once, and they call up and say, "Hey, we'd like to get another one," and having that piece of, just because you don't. Once you get used to seeing the data, you don't want to miss it.
Right.
And it's easy to miss, especially if you've got, you know, someone else who's working for you that just hops in and goes and isn't, you know, accustomed to that. You guys are participating in the transition of some acres over to the organic thing. So let's talk through that process. And so you started, what, 3 years ago? Is that when you started?
Yep, it'll be 3 years in August, 36 months.
3 years in August. Okay, so what's the first year look like?
Well, we put alfalfa in the first year on our transition in one field, and so just putting it in the spring, we didn't get much for alfalfa, so not much income at all.
Okay.
Second year, rained a lot last year, so not much income there. We had a couple of cuttings we didn't even get.
Okay.
So
how many cuttings would you normally get here? Four. So you had 2 last year, kind of.
Yeah. The first one was a lot of tonnage, but not quality. The second one we didn't get much off because we tried to beat a rain, so we didn't get a whole lot off of it. Third one, we did get some small square bales, so we did really good. That helped the income stream, but the fourth one we just had to abandon.
Okay.
Never got it back up. So this year we planted corn in that alfalfa, so that's a new strategy that we've only heard of one other person doing.
Corn right in the alfalfa.
Corn right in the alfalfa as it's growing.
Yep.
And that's our weed control.
Yep.
And it's done really well on weed control. It's taken a lot of water, but we haven't had much for rain this year.
Okay.
We're less than 8 inches all year.
Really?
So, yeah. So.
Well, it looks like you were asking for it. It looks like keep our fingers crossed, right?
Yeah. So we've watered a lot with the 2 crops growing. So, but you know, alfalfa gives a lot of nutrients, so we're hoping that's going to raise a good corn crop.
And so you'll harvest this year, right? And you'll have that stuff will be marketed as organic corn. Right. And then what happens next year?
We're still undecided.
Okay.
We just don't know exactly what we'll go with.
Do you go corn on corn in that environment? Is that kind of?
You can, yeah. I mean, so
there's challenges with that, right?
There's challenges, but yeah, we'll look at that. We're still open. Our other fields transition 2-year field that we have this year was actually prevented planting last year because of the floods.
So that helps a little bit.
That got our first year.
Yep.
And then this year we put oats in, and they kind of failed because of a frost we had and drought. And so that just got taken off as oatlage, and we're actually going to tile that farm and get some irrigation in while we got the free summer. And then our transition 1 of another quarter, irrigated quarter, we had wheat last year, so we put alfalfa in right away last fall.
Okay.
So we've gotten great alfalfa off that this year on the half of it. The north half of it, we put corn into standing oats as a weed control for transition, and we had to cut that as oatlage, so that abandoned. So no income there.
Yeah, this is all new stuff, right? I mean, this is you're experimenting, and you're experimenting with pretty big plots of land. Do you guys have buyers for that stuff already?
The oats, one field we did. We were talking with Oatly.
Okay.
And so we were working with them through grain millers in Iowa, and so we were contracted to grow the oats.
Yep.
And like Kerry said, it didn't work.
Yep.
And then this second field that we planted corn and oats together, that was an experiment. It didn't work out, but we still got the oatlage. So we didn't go fall flat on our face there. But we also learned that oats are a very good weed suppressor.
Okay.
Because we thought we were going to be in huge trouble. There was just weed pressure like unbelievable under that oats, and then the oats took. And this was our first year ever planting oats, so we had no background with it. And yeah, so we kind of flopped, but we learned a lot.
And so, are you concerned about there not being buyers for those crops, or not really?
No, I mean basically we're blessed with cattle producers in this area.
That's right. So you can always
so we had to bail out. You always have to have options.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, of course.
And then now we have the opportunity to double crop those fields.
I love talking to you guys because you guys are like innovating. You're innovating here, and there's so many people that are so down in the dumps right now in this business, and they're and I know that there's financial pressures. I know there's a whole bunch of outside pressures, and I know that the trade war, and I know we've got all this stuff going on. But I could talk to you guys all day long.
keep doing the same thing over and over, it's not going to change.
That's right, and you guys are trying new stuff, and you're learning from that, and it's super refreshing to be able to spend some time with you guys. So you guys have been using Farmobile for a while. Where are we missing the mark? What can we do better? What would you like to see from an improvement perspective? I always like to hear what we're doing bad. And everybody can tell you what you're doing good, but I like to hear what we could do better. Where's that? Is there a little pain point for you anywhere? You're like, gosh, I wish they could just do this.
It would be. I don't know if it's possible, but it would be nice if it knows when it's plugged. Once we name it.
Yep.
And if it's been in a piece of equipment once already, it could recognize that it's in a different piece of equipment.
So the puck to recognize what it is, so you don't have to rename it.
Yeah, because I forget that all the time.
Yes. Okay. Well, and this is great because this is a feature that we haven't really promoted yet because we're still working on it. But we're getting better at being able to collect the VIN number. Okay. So when it goes in, we're able to pull the VIN number. So then you could tell which piece of it. You could name that piece of equipment. We could have it stick to a VIN. Go left here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's just a little thing that when you're switching it, that's the last thing that you have on your mind.
Yep.
So that, and then I guess having a few more names for your field activities, because like we're moving bales.
Okay.
We're mowing.
Yep.
Tethering. We've got skid steer out there. Just
so different activity names.
Yeah. A little more robust on that.
Yep. We call operating a whole bunch of stuff, right? And being able to assign something to that.
Yeah.
That activity.
Yeah. Just so it makes a little more sense for when you do use that data for something else, and you knew what it was for sure.
Sure.
What I'd like to see in the future is more pre-planning of how to go around a field, because I usually plant a field the same exact way.
Okay.
Because it's most efficient.
Yep.
But is there a better way that's more efficient? I mean, that's my man-made way. But also, I always want the sprayer to follow the same direction. Sure. And now I'm running the sprayer versus we used to have a employee that ran the sprayer, and sometimes just wondered why he was going where he was going and why go that way. And if you could pre-plan it so you just get out there and you have to go this way, and that's because that's the most efficient way. And then at harvest, it'd be great to take in our yields that are coming in to pinpoint exactly where the combine's going to get full that the grain cart could meet at that point. Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're almost doing something that.
Yeah. Where
machine learning as to projection looks like we're going to be right here, and that's.
Yes.
On the certifying, I really like that you guys let us certify and uncertify so we can fix our mistakes.
Yep.
That's really nice. But I don't think it lets me edit, like, is it the acres? It won't let me edit acres.
Okay.
So that one I would like to see happen. Pretty sure it's the acres. Just pretty much, anything in there, even like, not horsepower, the horse, there's, it's hard to remember with it in front of you, but just, pretty much if you could have most things in there editable.
Yep.
So if you're going to track it and tell us, this is this, but I have my file from the monitor in the piece of equipment telling me it's something else.
Yep.
How do you reconcile
for that? The one you asked about acres is something that we got to look into, because a lot of times where we're calculating acres is around the boundary, and I know that then we try to do the coverage area, right? So there's some, actually it's not just math on all the swath. You got to make sure it's not overlapping and that kind of stuff in that way. So we got to look into that. But I know that if you have a deer monitor, a climate field drive, and Farmobile, they all come up with different acres, right? And we're like publishing just like the open source stuff. We're like saying, like, this is the formula we use for acres. We think this is right. Let's figure out, what happens if we run the deer data through that formula? What happens if we run the climate data through that formula? It's figuring out acres seems like something that should be so easy for us as an industry to get behind. It seems like with all the tools we have today and all the imagery and all the stuff, that figuring out acres should be something that we can do with math.
Yeah.
another one of those complexity problems, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been awesome. Thank you guys. I could drive around with you all day long. I think I brought the rain.
I hope you brought the
I hope.
rain.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say
Make
that
sure
yet.
you come back next
but
week.
Thank you guys so much for doing this with me today. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate all the business that you guys have done for us to help promote just data in general. And so I look forward to doing this again. Thank you guys. It was really fun.
All right, thank you.